you care about. News Talk 1330 WLBB, Carrollton.
Yeah, good Monday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice Program, our show brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. And this morning, streaming live on Facebook Live, the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, so you can tune in right now and see who our guest is. 2019 marks the 22nd year of operations for Alice's House. We'll tell you exactly what that program is, nonprofit here locally, but they're going to be hosting their 26th annual Chip In for Children golf tournament coming up Monday, April the 15th, and we'll tell you about the golf tournament and as well exactly what Alice's House is with our guest this morning. Scott Barrett is vice chairman for Alice's House. Scott, good morning.
Good morning, Colin.
Thanks for making it out here. Do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We try and talk about Alice's House every single year around this time, and you guys don't need the promotion by the time you come here because it looks like you got all your sponsors and most of the places for participation. We'll try to still fill up a couple of those slots for that golf tournament this morning if we can. But first of all, Scott, tell me about yourself. Barrett and Associates and your vice chair here. What's Barrett and Associates?
General contractor, small business here in Carrollton, Georgia. I was born and raised here. Started in 1967 over on Carter Avenue, and have moved around a couple of times. Went to school in Marietta and came back and made our life here with my wife Lynn and our daughters Maggie and Anna. Maggie's away at Mercer University.
She's turning 21 on Friday.
She is 21 years old on Friday. It's gonna be a blast. We got invited for the Thursday rendition of that party, and then we'll be invited to leave on Friday morning after breakfast so she and her friends can have a continued party down there down in Macon. So we're looking forward to that, proud of her. Anna is a sophomore at Bremen High School and is there and in the band and thriving and loving that system there.
Scott Barrett was chairman last year for Alice's House. This year, the board of trustees this year, vice chairman. Well, I guess before we talk about your interest and your involvement with Alice's House, what is Alice's House? How did that get put together? The name, the lady the house is named after, well known in these parts.
Absolutely. The Alice's House is a group home here in Carrollton, Georgia. We can house up to 10 children and take care of them, and our ages are in high school age now. Back in the day, we used to have the earlier ones, the grammar school age kids, but as time progressed, we're serving more of the high school age children now. We have 6 at the house right now, so that number fluctuates as the needs of the community change. But most of these, by and large, are Carroll County residents that we serve. The board has been operational for 26 years now. Miss Evelyn Parrish was the visionary of this, and still our straw boss and our backbone that keeps us going.
Emeritus.
And she is the chair.
She's a well-known do-gooder too.
She is that.
She had a day named after her too in Carrollton last year. Was it last year? Or maybe 2 years ago.
She did 2 years ago when we celebrated the 20th anniversary of taking care of children at Alice's House. We went through with the mayor and council, and the Mayor Hollingsworth was good enough to come out and proclaim the Evelyn Hughes Parish Day in Carrollton, Georgia, which is coming up. It's very, very near her birthday, which is in another couple of weeks. 3 weeks, I guess. And we endowed a scholarship that night for her, and since then, last year's golf tournament, the proceeds from that went into that fund, and we have been able to pass out several scholarships now to children that were residents of Alice's House. So something that's special to us, a way to go out and serve those kids.
Those children. What children?
Jody Middlebrooks was the first recipient.
But with the children, what the children? How are they put into house, and what are they? What group are they in?
The kids come to us. We often say, or we often repeat what Miss Evelyn says, we have good kids with some parents that have hit some hard times. So a lot of times we get the kids just because their parents might have been arrested, might have fallen on hard times, lost some housing, and DFACS then sends them to us. And we take them on from there and do our best to raise them with house parents in the home and send them to local schools. They all go to Central High School now and do all the things that our kids do. They run track. They're on the football team. They're on the homecoming court. It's a regular day for them when they leave our house and come back.
So these students, these children, they come from Carroll County, right? Their families are from Carroll County originally.
Most do.
Here, right?
Most do. That's not an absolute requirement for us, but right now we do have all Carroll County children.
I imagine
in
that's
our
important,
care.
For them to be able to stay, if they're from Carroll County, to stay
Absolutely.
here and continue going to school.
Stay in the same school system. Just because they have a hard time at home doesn't mean they have to transfer that to classes and then let that snowball go down the hill and hurt them for years to come. So it's good to keep them in the same school system and keep them learning.
Are they able to still keep in touch with friends and other family members while they're there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they have visitation through other organizations that will come and pick them up if they need visitation that is supervised. Others get to go home and spend time with grandparents. They have life events that happen, as we always do, and need to go and spend time with extended family for a period of time. They can do that. We've had a student that did that a couple weeks ago and just went and stayed with grandmama for a while and enjoyed her time and then came back.
Well, we're talking 22 years of operation. It's been in the plans for close to 3 decades. Anyway, it was started about, the idea for it was put together about 3 decades ago, but 22 years in operation. How many children have been through that home?
Ooh, mercy. That number is a moving target, but I would speculate 320 to 340 have come through and been served by Alice's House at some point in their lives.
And how about as far as the length, average length that a student or a child might stay in there?
That really varies. I mean, we've had some for 5-6 years that just come in as a middle schooler and will graduate and move on. We've had some as little as a few weeks. Just absolutely depends on their need. Some of the ones that we have kids that come in and go back to their families when the situation gets better. We have kids that come in and are adopted out of the program. They are adopted while they're living at Alice's House. I guess they're adopted from the DFACS program. And we know some of those kids around town. And it is really rewarding to run into those acquaintances, run into those kids, run into the foster parents that may have cared for them. It's a great rewarding thing to just watch them grow up in the community.
What other local nonprofits would you work with then? Maybe CASA, Child Advocacy Center?
They do represent some of our kids if they have a need to go to court for anything. We have some that are represented by CASA, and then volunteers, neighbors around the house that may come over and see some. Our board members that go in and get to know the kids one-on-one and spend time with them. The house parents are really, they really are mom and dad to them. So they get, it's nice to watch that special connection. And even the past house parents that have a social media presence with them, even when they're not around. They don't live together anymore. They don't see them on a daily basis, but they still have a link out there that they can reach out to them and see them and help them and mentor them a little bit.
Definitely want to talk more about the house parents more in the show, but before we do take our first break, how about yourself? How did you get involved in this? I mean, was there anything that you saw important to be part of, or just being part of this community and knowing this fine group of people on the board of trustees?
God, I was asked. I was, I don't know how many years ago, 8 or 10 years ago. Eddie Adams was the chair at the time, and I guess the way we do it is we bring it up in a board meeting, suggestions from new members when we have members that roll off. And then I got the strong arm of Eddie Adams, and we went to lunch, and it was an extended lunch, and he explained to me that This was not a social board. It was not a status board. It was a working board, and he was right. It's a labor of love. It's a ministry. It's a way that you can be part of something bigger than yourself, and really reach out in a community and help some folks when they need helping.
Would you say this is educational for you? Has it been?
Oh,
You've
my
learned
goodness,
a lot
absolutely,
over a decade.
Absolutely, and to be around the people that are on our board now and just feed off of their individual strengths. It's wonderful for me personally. I think it benefits the kids at the home.
Scott Barrett, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, Vice Chairman, the Board of Trustees for Alice's House. Again, 22nd year of operation this year for Alice's House, and they're going to have their 26th annual Chip In for Children golf tournament. April the 15th, we'll tell you how you can participate and how to volunteer for Alice's House and be part of that program if you're so interested. If I mention this Board of Trustees, these people in here, a lot of the names you might recognize from being in a lot of other programs, on board directors for a lot of other programs. Of course, Scott, Ben Butler, Jim Kemp, Chuck Connerly, John Grillo, John Jackson, Andy Johnson, Barbara Kaufman. I believe Andy's been on this program to talk about the golf tournament before. Cynthia Langley, Sandra Morris, Idis Overton, Bill Parrish, of course, Evelyn Parrish, Deirdre Haywood Rouse, Martin Smith, Jim Olick,
Yes.
yeah, and Alan Pollin, of course, Tommy Greer, Sue Medeiros, Lane Poston, and Fred Richards. All people who volunteer the time and are part of the Board of Trustees for Alice's House. We'll take our first break. We'll come back and talk more about Alice's House here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also broadcasting live this morning on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page. More after this.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama, because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
All right, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. And, of course, this morning you can catch us on the WLBB Facebook Live page. My guest is Scott Barrett. He's Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees for Alice's House as they're celebrating their 22nd year of operation. I believe later on this fall is the actual date of that. But we're here to promote today their 26th annual Chip In for Children golf tournament. It's their big annual fundraiser. If you have questions or comments, you can post those up on our Facebook page. Bob Uglum has checked in, another do-gooder. And he said, thank you, Scott, for your commitment to this great project.
Bob should have brought us some pancakes up here to get started this morning.
But as we talked about in the first segment, did talk about Alice's House Chip In for Children golf tournament. It's coming up on the 15th.
Yes, sir.
And it's an all-day event.
It is an all-day event. We got 2 flights in the tournament. We started that, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, just the community support you get in Carrollton, Georgia. My goodness. I mean, you find the right fund. I guess, I mean, just like at church. I mean, if you got the right thing to raise money for and pass the plate, the money comes in. And it's
plus
always
people want to
been.
play some golf, too.
Oh, absolutely. It gets fun. We won't talk about the people that get out of work and play golf for it. But for the ones that get out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, some of them, and set up and get ready for the registration and wait for that last golfer to come in and then the last table to get cleaned up. It's a full 14-hour day for some of them. So
it's up at Sunset Hills Country Club.
Sunset Hills Country Club has been since the very beginning, and just a wonderful tournament. We started, I guess, with a second flight 5-6 years ago. Andy would have to be here to tell me exactly when, but wonderful slot. I mean, we couldn't feel any more. We have to rent 2 tractor trailer loads of golf carts to supplement all the carts at Sunset Hills just to have this tournament. So it is a tremendous outpouring of the community to come out and play golf and have some fun, see some people, and raise money for a good cause.
What are the qualifications as far as their cost and a fee to play that day?
There is. We've got fantastic sponsors out there. We have a presenting sponsor, which is at a $5,000 level, and then we have career sponsors at $2,500, and then we go down from there at gold $1,500, silver $1,000, and then a team still gets you in at $750. And those are all full except for, I believe, 4 slots. It was Friday afternoon. 4 slots left open in the morning for folks to come in. But every year seems to be a record year for sponsors. I'd tell you how many we have, but it's 2 weeks away, and I hope we keep going up. But we'll have at least 9 premier sponsors, which is $2,500 a team, which is fantastic for this spot, and something we're blessed to be a part of and be a recipient of those funds.
And plus, the golfers are out there. They're making their donation to be able to play, but they're seeing all the advertisers. They're seeing their friends who have actually contributed to this nonprofit. Can give them thumbs up.
They do
make sure
that.
they patronize them just because they're seeing them, supporting you guys so much. How many golfers do you expect to be out there then on Friday the 15th?
130.
Monday the 15th. Yeah, Monday the 15th. 130 golfers going through there. Yeah. Who are some of our star golfers? Can you remember over the past years?
Well, I'll tell you the one that wrote down the lowest score last year was Jackson
Did you
Builders.
Just say wrote down.
Yeah, wrote down the lowest score. Jackson Builders did last year. After doing a little bit of snooping on that team, I found out from their sponsor's namesake, Brad Jackson, that he did not get out of the cart. He sat there and watched his 3 people play golf, and they turned in a low score.
Well, you had a driver.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely, and Brad was a good one. Yeah. And I guess and after they did that and won the grand prize of I believe it was a $400 gift certificate for the clubhouse, they turned around and donated it back.
Very nice.
So that's good.
Opportunity for lunch too?
Absolutely. We serve lunch between the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast guys come out, the early morning round, they'll have a cup of coffee, a little piece of fruit or biscuit or something, go out and play golf, and then as they're turning between noon and 1:30, our afternoon round is coming in. And those guys, Chick-fil-A's good to send us nugget trays.
I want to say Chick-fil-A's done it the whole time. I mean, the last 10 years. I mean, I think the 10 years that I've been here, I think Chick-fil-A's done it, right?
They've done a wonderful job. Papa John's does the same thing and brings pizzas out. And then all of our ladies on the board, they go out and they collect fruit from local folks around here and cook brownies and bring drinks in and set up tables and the things that happen that you don't know they're happening. And it's just amazing to see it come together and get those girls in there and doing what they do, doing what they love to do, and taking care of our golfers.
Well, if somebody does want to participate and fill those final slots, who do they get in touch with, and how do they do that?
Bill Parrish. Bill Parrish is stepping in and helping Andy fill some of his position, but call Bill at 770-403-5861, or he's got a Southwire email address, bill.parrish@southwire.com. Also, our social media pages, we can be contacted there as well.
Well, hopefully we can fill those slots for you today. That's part
Absolutely.
of what this program is about, but also just to remind the community of this other fine nonprofit that we have here. And we do have so many, and the community does not hesitate to give out. I mean, obviously we have a great community who feels it, who's happy to do that for all of our nonprofits. It is 8:49 right now. We'll take our final break, come back and just give one more plea about the golf tournament. Also talk about Alice's house in particular, and I'd like to give a big shout out to Alice Hufford. As we come out that break, just talk about her a little bit and her vision in putting this house together. We'll come back with about 10 minutes on our program, talking with Scott Barrett this morning. He's the vice chair of the Board of Trustees for Alice's House. Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. And this morning, questions and comments, feel free to post those on our Facebook page, News Talk 1330, WLBB Facebook page. More after this.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
All right, 10 minutes before 9 o'clock on this Monday morning Community Voice program brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. And this morning we're streaming live on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. And Scott Barrett is vice chairman of the Board of Trustees for Alice's House here in Carrollton. Our guest this morning as we talk about their 26th annual Chip In for the Children golf tournament, their big fundraiser for the year, and that's coming up on April the 15th. And as we did tell you last break, we do have a couple more slots open that you or your group can participate in if you are so interested. Alice's House, before the break, I did tell you it is named after Alice Hufford Richards, but obviously she didn't come up with the idea for this. This is all Evelyn Parrish's.
She did not, and it's fun to hear that story from some of the original board members. But as I repeat it year after year, I hope I keep it somewhat factual, but we'll make it fun too. Miss Evelyn she's a visionary. She's a woman with tremendous passion that it's just hard to say no to. And if you've been sitting around the middle table at the diner, or if you have a business storefront here in Carrollton and you see her coming about this time of year, you know it's impossible to say no to Miss Evelyn. I tell you what, I feel sorry for Dr. Joe, her husband. Oh my goodness, they've been married a long time, but I'd hate to be in his shoes and have to ever say no, and I'm sure he hasn't when she comes asking for something. She's just got such a passion for everything that she does, and a visionary for us that without her vision it wouldn't happen. I've heard Tommy Greer say from the pulpit that when she came to him and talked to him about the idea of founding a group home here in Carrollton, he thought it would never get off the ground. And 3 years went by of her knocking on doors and raising money and getting board members together and finding land and figuring out a way to build the home at a cost that we could afford, the board could afford, and got it done. And got it done with zero debt. I mean, Alice's House, the board has never had to pay the first penny in interest in anything that we've done in this ministry, and that's a tribute to this community and how we can reach out and raise money for the greater good.
You're talking about the house itself. If I'm thinking this is 22 years in operation.
Talking about the house itself.
How is that house standing for 22 years? Everything in good shape there? As we're talking about people participating and making donations and being a part of this, I mean, I just wonder if that's one of the things that you guys need at this point. Maybe some new blinders or anything like that that people can help out. I tell you what, over the past, we did the golf tournament 6 years ago. Paid for a renovation of the kitchen, which we went in and completely gutted the kitchen and replaced everything in there. And then I believe the following year we did the bathrooms for the residents, and all those are great. The needs in the home come in from donation from board members and people throughout the year. Last month, well, it wasn't even a month ago, 2 weeks ago, we went out and replaced all the old fluorescent lights with LED lights, and it's just an ongoing maintenance that we do. So that's an example of when you do have these fundraisers, an example of where that money can go.
Absolutely.
And again, if you can't participate in the golf tournament, there are other ways that people can offer their time, and there are other donations obviously just day-to-day things that you need.
Day to day. Got a call from a lay pastor at Southern Hills, 2 weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, I got an idea. We're going to do a great day of service," which a lot of churches do around here. And he said, "I've got 50 volunteers that are coming to you for 2 hours." And I thought, what in the world are we going to do with 50 people for 2 hours? But that was his idea of what he could, what kind of people he could bring out there for something. So we have people that reach out and do those kind of efforts for Alice's House that helps us so much.
What are some of the things they can do to volunteer? I mean, come over and read is something as simple as that? Or?
Absolutely. Miss Evelyn has a Bible study there every Saturday morning. Certainly welcome to do that. If you you stop in, it's a commitment. It's not a one time. It's not a one time deal. If we have a project that's something around the playground, we do that quite a bit to go out and refurbish it. First Baptist came out and painted our little icon house out in the front yard a couple of years ago. It looked they had a great time. Some of their members, the younger members, the 5 and 6 year olds, I think had more paint on them than they did on the house, but had a great time. The kids got to watch, and it's fun for them. How
about donations? Do you take donations of clothing or school supplies?
We do, and we have that drive every year. Mm-hmm. But anytime people have a children's clothes, teenagers' clothes that they want to get rid of, we have a spot in the basement that the house parents and others keep organized. So we've got clothes for kids that come in on an emergency basis. If they come in after stores are closed on a Thursday night and don't have anything, we can fill a spot for them with something to wear. Then we've got great board members over the years. Miss Jan, my goodness, she shopped for 10, 15 years for these kids, and took them shopping and figured out what they needed and purchased stuff. Easter's coming up. We always go out and new church clothes at Easter. All of our kids attend Tabernacle Baptist Church every Sunday with our house parents, and then back to Alice's house for some homework time, I guess, in the afternoons, what my kids do.
So school supplies, you can donate school supplies. About toiletries and perfumes and Colognes, things like that, deodorant.
Absolutely. That comes in, and the kids a lot of times have specific requests for that stuff, so we go out and purchase that for them.
Well, as we do wrap up our program, have about 2 more minutes. Let's touch on one more time, get the plea out to see if we can get some people to participate in this golf tournament.
If you all got 4 people that want to get together and play that morning and come out and have a good time with some great people in Carroll County, I encourage you to do that. We've got a few slots left at the 8 o'clock tee time. If you come out, you get a chance to win 2 cars. We've got one out there from Mike Bell, the second out there from Matt Morris and his dad, Richard. And if you really feel good, come out at 12:30, and again after the afternoon round, which would be about 6, and you get to see a $1 million shot from 160 yards out on 18 at sunset. And those 2 people will be randomly drawn from the participants in the tournament. And thanks to John Simon at Georgia West Realty, they'll take that shot. And if that ball goes in, there's $1 million coming to the man that's holding that club.
And they can at least donate $100,000 back.
Well, there'll probably be a lot of pressure from everybody standing around them to give it back. We've had some great people in this town that started that tradition at some sports auctions, so maybe we can continue that. We'll see if $1 million does it.
Well, Scott Barrett is vice chair of the Board of Trustees for Alice's House, and did a great job in the program this morning. Also, you need to be commended because you handled the mic falling off better than anybody else has.
Now, that's going to get everybody to go to your Facebook page and figure out how I broke that.
Hey, Scott, thanks for coming out.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
And thank you for listening to the Community Voice program here on this Monday. Community Voice is always brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. Have a great Monday.